trying to get this in row echelon form, and what I like to do is focus on getting a leading 1 first. So to get a leading 1 in row 1, I would have to divide row 1 by -1. So I would take my row 1 and divide that by -1. So that would give us 1, -2, +3 as our new row 1. So I would rewrite the matrix as 1, -2, 3, and then the old row 2 of 4, -5, and 6. Okay, so I get my leading 1, that's my first priority. Now I'm going to focus on getting zeros above and below. So to get row 2 to have a 0 there, I'm going to have to subtract that from row 1 multiplied by 4, because then I'll have the 4 minus 4, and those will cross out. So I'll take row 2, which is 4, -5, and 6, and then multiply row 1 by -4. So that will give us -4, +8, -12. And then I'll add those two together to get 0, 3, and -6. Now again, this is our new row 2 because that was what we first started with. So my matrix is going to look like 1, -2, 3, 0, 3, -6. So at this point, I have column 1 done. I have the leading 1 and I have the 0 below it. So now I'm going to focus on how do I get column 2 complete. So I start with how do I make this a leading 1. To do that, I would have to take row 2 and divide it by 3. So I'd have 0, 3, -6, divide by 3, divide by 3. That gives us 0, 1, -2. So this would be my new row 2. So my matrix would look like 1, -2, 3, and then my new row 2 would be 0, 1, -2. Okay, now we're still not in row echelon form because we have to get a 0 above. So to get the 0 above, I would take row 1 and subtract that from 2 row 2. Now you'll notice in this case, if you multiply by or subtract from a -2, nothing's going to cancel out. So you're actually going to be adding it to 2 times row 2 because of the fact that row 1 has that negative. All right, so we start with row 1 as 1, -2, and 3, and then multiply row 2 by 2, so we have 0, 2, and -4. And then we'll add those two together to get 1, 0, -1. And this will be my new row 1. So now I can put these together. New row 1 is going to be 1, 0, -1, and then the new row 2 is 0, 1, -2. And now we have our leading 1, zeros above and below, leading 1, zeros above and below. So it is in our augmented matrix row reduced echelon form. And the great thing about that is once it's in that form, we can read off that x is equal to -1 and that y is equal to -2. And so that is our unique solution.